So now we are here in the third class of soil mechanics. Professor Kirti has been covering theory of unit number 4 and 5, and I am covering numericals and problems on unit number 4 and 5. In the previous videos I have covered problems from unit number 5, consolidation of soil. So we spent 2 classes to understand how to solve the problems, especially in unit number 5. There are a lot of variety of problems. The formula, the base remains the same, but a same question can be asked in a very different format, and that can be confusing. We have seen for very past years now, students find this unit number 5 very confusing, because even though you know the formula, everything is known to you, but still to solve the problems it becomes difficult. For that your aptitude is very important. That's why we had discussed about some strategies to solve the problems, how to tackle different type of problems, and how to face those challenges. This is what we discussed for unit number 5. Now coming to unit number 4, which is on shear strength. So the problems here are mostly on effective stress principles, which have been covered by Dr. Vijayam Desai sir. Theory also has covered in the videos. I will be covering problems on the lab test. So as you know, for shear strength we have 4 tests in the laboratory. So I hope you can name them. First is direct shear test, second triaxial compression test, third unconfined compression test, and fourth is vane shear test. These are the 4 tests in the lab we have discussed. The theory part, the conduction and all, I hope you have studied, but still if we have time in the next class we will discuss on the lab methods. Now coming to the problems. So the important problems are direct shear test and triaxial test. Unconfined compression test is more like younger brother of triaxial test. So if you can solve problems on triaxial test, it's not at all difficult. And vane shear is very simple. You have just 1 or 2 formulae, and from that you have to find the answer. So probably will not discuss on vane shear test in this class, because in the previous videos you can find it. We'll just will not exactly solve the problem, so we'll try to again have some strategy and try to think more and understand more of these problems. If different type of problems come, how to tackle them and how to get the answer. So without wasting time, we'll move on to the first problem of direct shear test. So I am referring the book BC Punmiya. If you have the book, it's very good. You can just go to that problem and just read it. If not, any other book will have more or less similar problems. So in direct shear test, there are not much variety of problems. So basically in the lab test, if you know the lab test from beginning till the end, so you can solve any problem given. Okay, so we'll start with the first problem. I hope effective stress principle is very clear to you. If soil mechanics or geotechnical engineering, the basics come into the picture, the first equation is of effective stress. So what is it? Effective stress equals to total stress minus the pore pressure. And another important equation in geotech or soil mechanics is the shear strength equation. Tau equals to C plus sigma tan phi. So if you know these 2 equations, even solving problems on this shear strength becomes easier for you. We'll come to the direct shear test now. Okay, So first is a very basic problem from the lab test. So what they have given, so I'm reading out example number 18.1. So it says that there is a table given. There are two columns. First is normal load and the other is maximum shear force, or the shear force at which it paid. So two columns are given. Generally these are the values we have from the test. Area of the sample is given, which is 36 centimeters square. So most of the cases, if the test is not custom made, in the lab according to standard codes, the area of the sample will be 6 centimeter into 6 centimeters. It is 36 centimeters square. So this is almost fixed. If in case in some examinations, in competitive government examinations, the area sometimes is not given. So if it is according to the code, it's a standard test. So the area is 36 centimeters square. Drainage condition is given, undrained condition. So generally, in this case, the drained and undrained conditions will come into picture. In that case, always remember the pore pressure will come into picture. If it is drained, undrained, so what happens to pore pressure? So if it is drained, generally there is no pore pressure, because if you put some load, the water will just drain out. So there is no pore pressure developed. Even if it develops, it's very instantaneous. It will just go off. But if it is undrained test, then you have some water there. So when you load the sample, that water will also take some load. So that will develop some pore pressure. Okay. Now they have asked to find out, plot the failure envelope and define the values of shearing resistance, that means what? Angle of internal friction, and cohesion. So this is what they have asked. So we have discussed this. So basically what happens in direct shear test, if you remember, so we have this kind of plot. So this is for the normal load and this is for the shear load. This is generally tau. Okay. So in this problem they have given you two columns. So one for sigma, one for tau. So these are four values given. And what this is, if imagine this is given in, for example, newtons. What we put here is stress. So this is force given. What we want here is Newton per meter square. Generally, if the area is same, you can just use the direct values. But what happens in the test, with the area changes, we have area correction. As you load, the area goes on changing. So for every case, the area will be different. So it's better you find the area or the stress. So we have this. So what you do, you make another column for stress. So Newton per meter square, Newton per meter square. So this is for sigma, this is for tau. Then you divide these values by area. So divide by 36, you will get one more value. In this case, from here to here, you have to divide it by area, cross-sectional area of sample. Generally, it is 36 centimeters square. Now, I am not going in detail into the units. So this is centimeter square. Generally, we want in meters. See, there are two units which are used. Either it is kPa, very standard for soil mechanics, kilopascal, which is kilonewton per meter square, or also sometimes it is kgs per centimeter square. So in the labs and not for direct shear test, if you actually do it practical cases, you will have this unit. So you can also solve in this unit. In the numericals, generally it is given in the SI units. So it is kilonewton per meter square. So whether you keep it in you convert this Newton to kilonewton, it's all up to you. So it's all they play with units. Okay. So these are the standard units which we expect from you. Okay, so whatever is the unit given, generally as I said, problems are very simple, they will only play with the units. So if you plot, for example, 4, so for this first one you will have this value, for this second one you will have this value, something like this. So 4 set of data will have 4 points. You have to just plot it. This is third, this is 4, this is third, this is 4. Then now here comes the important part. Now you have to join this line. Now many students, we have seen that they will just join the 4 points exactly. They'll cut all the 4 points. Sometimes you may find that the points are not in a straight line. For example, I'll just draw this like this. So can you think I can draw a straight line using these 4 points? No. If I draw like this, it will become a curve. So generally in the soil mechanics, what you have to draw is a best fit curve. In the mathematics, in the basics, you must have studied best fit curve. Or simply you have 4 points, you have to draw a line which is like an average touching all the 4. It may not touch all the 4, it may touch 1, 2 or even all 4, but even not even a single point. But it should be like passing averagely through those 4 points. So if I see here, I will draw a line which is like this. So this is mostly touching these 2 points, and this point is a little bit above, this point is a little bit less. It's fine. Okay, somehow you have to adjust. You make sure that not all points are very far. If 1 or 2 are fine, average, so this is your skill, how you plot. Okay, now what is the shear strength equation if you remember? Tau or S equals to C plus sigma tan phi. So this is sigma, this is tau. This equation is more or less equals to y equals to m x plus c. Remember this equation, y equals to mx plus c. So this is y, this is x, this slope is m, and this intercept is, I'll call it c. So the equation of this line is y equals to mx plus c. I hope you know this. If c is not here, how will be the line? If c is not here, how will be the line? So c will be 0. So this line will be start from this point. So what is the equation of this line? Y equals to mx. If slope is 1:1, then the value of m is 1, so y equals to x. So this will be a 45 degrees line. M is equals to 1. So this is all the basics of the graphs and lines. So this you have. So this is your C, and okay, here is an interesting part. Now slope is given, and here we have tan phi. So the value of m is not the phi, it is tan phi. So to find phi, you have to do tan inverse of the slope, or simply use your protractor and find this phi. So this is your cohesion, and this is your angle of internal friction. That's it. So this is the equation of your test. Any doubts? So direct shear test is very simple. The complications here are sometimes the loads will be given, sometimes directly the stress will be given. So they'll try to play with the input parameters. Let's see if we have another example here. Okay, same example, I'll just read for you. You can just always go back to your textbooks and find it out. Again, we have normal loads and shear loads, and here it is sand. Now I'll try to explain to you when it is sand, when it is C5 soil, when it is purely clay. Now look at this graph, this equation. it has both C and phi. So this is a C5 soil. It is not either pure sand or it is nor a clay. So it's neither sand nor clay. So we have three types. If you see, this sand, clay, and this is C5 soil. So when we have both C and phi parameters, we have C5 soil. For sand, your cohesion will be 0, so you have only phi. And for clay, you have only C, your phi is 0. Now how will this plot look like for these three cases? So for this, it will look like this. We have both C and phi. Now in sand, the C value is 0, so intercept is 0. So this value becomes 0. So how will be the plot? Something like this. So you'll only have alpha, this alpha, alpha. Okay. If you go to the clay, phi value is 0. So this, and we have some C. So I have some C, and phi value is 0. That means what? The degree is 0. So it will be a straight line. If more C, the value will be like this. So this is what you have to understand. So if in the problem, they sometimes say it's a pure sand, it's a pure clay, or if they will not mention anything, we'll get C and phi. So you have to keep this in mind. Just whenever the problem is given, try to read the data properly. Try to first identify what type of soil it is. If it is very clear to you, if it is pure clay or pure sand or C5 soil, the next thing which should come to your mind is the graph. How will it look? Accordingly, you should start plotting. If you don't have a clear picture of that graph in your mind, what happens in different types of soil, you will end up doing lots of mistakes. Okay, so you just make a note of it, because the next problems which you are going to solve are based on the Morse circle. Okay, you can pause this video here, go back, do some revision on Morse circle. So the next problem I think which we are solving is on Morse circle, and it's a very important problem. It always comes in your exam. Okay, so go, just pause it and have a quick revision on Morse circle. Okay, so the question says a clean, dry, cohesionless sand. A clean, dry, cohesionless sand. What does it mean? There is no cohesion, it is a sandy soil. So the C intercept is 0. Your failure envelope or the failure Morse Coulomb line will pass from the origin. Okay, so it's very clear now. The soil failed at shear stress of 40 kPa when the normal stress was 50 kPa. So sigma and tau is given. Find the phi, angle of shearing resistance or angle of internal friction. Second is the principal stresses. So if you know the Morse circle, what are principal stresses? By what symbol do we denote them? Yes, it is sigma 1 and sigma 3. So sigma 1 is the major and sigma 3 is minor. Don't do the reverse. Even if you do the reverse, you know what actually it means. You can use any names for this, which is all about your understanding. But standard way in this soil mechanics is sigma 1 is bigger, sigma 3 is small. So these are the principal stresses. Here the shear stress is 0. Because it will, I will again tell you, if you look at the plot, this is tau, this is sigma. So sigma 1, sigma 3. So at this planes, what is the value of tau? It is 0. So this is also one kind of definition is principal stresses, the shear stress is 0. Okay. So I have find sigma 1 and sigma 3 and the directions. That means that they are angles. So this is an easy part. So you have to find phi, sigma 1, sigma 3 and the directions or the angles. Now the first thing, what the easiest part is, even if you don't know anything or you are not remembering anything how to proceed, simply what data you have, you try to plot it in your graph. That's it. Things will pieces will fall into places slowly. Okay. So first thing we know is sand. Is it? So how is the most for sand? So it is a line starting from origin and the angle is phi. This is what we know from given data. Next is they have given you tau and sigma. So I'll draw a plot here. Some students may not have graph sheets. What you can do is just take a normal your page and you plot your own graph. Okay, just draw two axes, take two origins. So this is sigma, this is tau. Okay, so they are given in the question tau is 40, sigma is 50. So tau is somewhere here 40. And my sigma is 50. So tau is given, sigma is given. Okay, so just simply join these 2 points. We have our first point. So as we know, this is a sand. We know sigma and tau. So what is the equation here? Here S or shear strength or tau equals to C plus sigma tan phi. So for sand C0, so sigma equals to tau equals to sigma tan phi. So we know sigma, we know tau. Even from the equation you can find phi. So in these cases there are two ways to solve the problem. First is graphical, second is analytical. In the theory examinations in the universities, in the institutes, will focus more on the graphical method, because in the labs everywhere you have to know the basics. In the competitive examinations or in some quizzes you may not have time or resources to draw graphs. So in that cases, if you are good with the formulas, you can also directly find the values with the formulas. So everything is given analytical and graphical. In the previous videos we have discussed problems both on graphical and analytical, but in this class we will focus more on graphical. So what you can do is, this is the point you have. We know it is a pure sand, so it will start from origin. To find this angle, you will get your phi. If you have solved, you can pause this video here, try to find it. The answer is 38.7 degrees. I repeat, the value of phi is 38.7 degrees. Now next what? We have to find sigma 1 and sigma 3. Okay, now be careful here. I'll tell you the steps. Now we have this line of failure envelope. This is the point. What you do, failure point. This is the failure point, right? So from here to this line you draw a perpendicular. From this line you draw a perpendicular. So this is your center point of Mohr's circle. So once you know the center, you know the radius, you can draw an semicircle. So take this as the radius and draw a semicircle. It's not very exact, but you will have a semicircle. So the point where it touches, you will have your principal stresses. So as I said, The bigger one is sigma 1, smaller is sigma 3. So this point is sigma 1, this is sigma 3. Values anyone can tell, anyone has found out? If you're solving along with me, you will get an answer of as 132, 132 for sigma 1 and 31 for sigma 3. This is the answer you should get. Are you getting it? Yeah. See, if your answer is not exactly that it, but more or less it will be accepted. It should not be very large number and large variation from the given answer. If few units up and down, it's accepted. Okay. Next, you have to find out the directions. Now, if you have understood the basics of direct shear test, the failure plane is horizontal. The sample is like this. Just imagine both the hands together is a sample. So what happens in the direct shear test? The bottom part is kept as it is. The top part is been pushed like this. So here is a shearing failure. So this is your angle of failure. So it is horizontal. So from the failure point, I'll draw a horizontal line. We call this as pole. From this pole, you join your sigma 3 and sigma 1. So these angles you find out. This is your directions. So this line is your sigma 1. That means it's a major plane, major principal plane. This is the direction, and this line joins a sigma 3. So it's a minor principal plane. Okay. You can pause this video here and try to solve it along with me for your understanding. Looking at it, just not and solving it. Sometimes you may find it easy problem, but when you actually solve, you will not remember the steps. So if you can solve along with me, it's better. You can always pause this video at any time and continue with me. Okay. Any doubts here you have, you can write in the comments box, or also you can contact us, the professors, okay, personally. Okay, next I'll see if there is another problems here. Okay, so other problems are more or less similar ones. So this was a very important problem, this variety of problem. In the books you can find other problems also. You can always refer it, try to solve it. If you are not able to solve, you can contact us. Okay. Another hint I would like to discuss is the Mohr circles. So for every test, for every condition, we have different Mohr circles. For direct shear test, the Mohr circle is somewhat like this. Okay. So if it is C5, that line will start from some intercept C. Otherwise, the Mohr circle remains the same. So the pole, sigma 1, sigma 3, the point of failure in the center. There are 5 points that are very important. If you see here, first the center of the Mohr circle, sigma 1, this pole, and this point of failure. So this point is what? Sigma and tau. So the x and y coordinates of this failure point is sigma and tau. So this 1, 2, 3, 4. This 4 values along with this phi and sometimes this c. So there are 5 to 6 parameters which you should know. What they can do in exam is they can just remove 1 or 2 and you have to find them. Like what happened in this problem. Sigma, tau, everything was given. From those values you found out the value of sigma 1 and sigma 3. Okay. Sometimes they will give you sigma 1 and sigma 3 and ask you to find reverse sigma and tau. So it's one and the same, it's very easy. Let's see if you have some problems on that. Okay, one more thing is which is very important here is, it's not mentioned here, this angle is 2 alpha. Okay, so I cannot find a problem there, but we can solve one problem which in the reverse case. So when sigma 1, sigma 3 in phi is given, how will you? Another thing if you remember is angle of failure plane. What it is? It is 45 plus 5 by 2. So okay, so there are some problems where they will give you sigma 1, sigma 3, and either they'll give you phi or alpha. These three values will be given and you have to find sigma and tau. So how will you proceed here? The reverse case now. Okay, so I'll just plot x and y axis. This is for sigma, this is for tau. Remember here again the question of units. Try to keep uniform units, and as I told, either keep it in kPa or kg per centimeter square. Okay, so it will be very easy for you. Okay, so the first is they'll give you sigma 1 and sigma 3. So I'll plot sigma 1 and I'll plot sigma 3. Let's say the value here is 100 and here this value is 50. Okay, so you have 2 points of ends of semicircle. Can you draw a semicircle on it? Yeah, very easy. You try to find its center. So if this is 100, this is 50, the center is average of these two. So the center is at 75. Okay, any values will be given, you just try to find its average, you will get the center. So sigma 1 plus sigma 3 divided by 2. So that's the formula. It's an average formula. Okay. So you do this. This is the center, this is the radius. You draw a Morse circle. It's not a, just pardon the figure. More or less it's a semicircle now. So at this point is the peak. Okay. Now, where is the failure point? Is it at its peak? That point can be known from this value. So they have phi or alpha is given. So either way, using that formula, you can find phi alpha. If directly given, you use the same alpha. If phi is given, you put it to this formula and find alpha. So from that point, what you have to do is plot a line which is at angle 2 alpha. This is very important point. So from the center, you take the value of alpha, double it, 2 alpha, and you draw a line. At the where it touches is your failure point. So if it is a pure sand, you just draw it tangent, you will get this phi. And this point is what? So this is your sigma and this is your tau. That's it. You have the answer. Okay, any doubts you have? So another way of solving it in the reverse manner. Okay, next problem we have here is of UCS and track shell. Okay, so the variety of problems in this book is solved. Variety is over for direct shear test. Okay, so with this we'll end this. In the next class we'll try to solve few problems on triaxial test and unconfined compression test. So with that we'll finish. Again I'll repeat, this will be just a revision for you. You can watch the previous videos to see how in detail we have solved. If possible, you can send us the queries. So far we have not received any queries from you. So if you send some queries, some doubts, so we can try to address this in this video. And we are also available on the conference calls or some video conference calls like Zoom and even the Google Meet. So in case you want live session on this doubt clearance, we can also have it. So just raise some point in the group and we can schedule it. Okay. We have already finished by this time we have already finished the second eye now. By the time you watch this video, we must have already finished the second eye. So we have covered the internals of this semester. Now you're left with the final examinations. In the open book assignments, we have given problems on this shear strength and consolidation. So you can refer those. We have tried to give you a good quality problems, which are very important from the point of view of your final examination, also from the government exam and even for the GATE. Okay, so you can always refer it. Okay, so any doubts, we are here, you can always message us. And for today we'll stop here and we'll meet for the next class for triaxial compression test and unconfined compression.